getting rid of the internet, especially if you've got kids, it really does mean that you are going to be missing out on what is now, most people consider pretty much a necessity. Let's talk about this with Helen Milner OBE. She's Chief Executive of Good Things Foundation. They're a digital inclusion charity. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. You've got new statistics showing 9 in 10 people on low incomes are looking at being forced to give up internet in order to pay for things like food and electricity, heating and water, and basically seeing it as an optional. Now, 10 years ago, it was an optional extra, but it really isn't an optional extra anymore. And goodness me, didn't we learn that during lockdown?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, before lockdown, a lot of people didn't really believe that there were people in the UK who were digitally excluded, who couldn't afford the internet and didn't have the skills. But actually, the lockdown taught us how essential it was, but also that there were millions of people who were missing out and who were cut off.
Yeah.
You can't apply for benefits, you can't keep in touch with the job centre, you can't apply for a job, your children can't do their homework, and you're cut off from loved ones as well as cut off from essential services.
I mean, and this is the key thing, isn't it? This is now the norm. And we know, again, as you pay for benefits, a lot of it has to be done online. I mean, someone could go to the library and use the computers there, but let's face it, it's not the same thing, and you're having to get lots of messages that way. Even just applying for jobs. I mean, if you're really low income, you're looking for extra work, you're going to need to be online. The cost of your data, if you're not being able to, say, use your Wi-Fi at home, these are just huge number of extra costs. And I always think this is a big extra cost for schools as well. When we talk about school budgets, actually, paying for that equipment, unless you've got well-off parents who can fund the sort of the donations that the school fete to help pay for these things. These are huge extra costs that are now just a part of daily life.
Yeah, that's right. And we know actually from the research that almost a fifth, so almost 1 in 5 people would rather go hungry than have no mobile data. So that's why at Good Things Foundation we're working with Virgin Media O2 on a national data bank. Think of it like a food bank, but for mobile data. And we have enough mobile data in that data bank for 500,000 people, because it's so important, as you said, that people are so cut off from absolute essential services, essential things, that we're able to provide this right across the UK.
Well, indeed, again, actually, even when it comes to bills, being able to do things digitally, your bank account, you live somewhere you haven't got a bank nearby. If you haven't got mobile, able to do a lot of these things and have that internet, you pretty much can't do anything these days.
That's right. And with the cost of living crisis, people are having to make really tough choices. So as the price of food goes up, the basic utilities goes up, then actually people are saying, can I afford this? And as you said, it's not a luxury. This is not about doing luxury things. This is about actually running your life.
Yeah.
And so we've got over 400 local places. So you mentioned libraries are part of that network that we work with, where people can go and they can get free mobile data from O2. So O2's got 20 gigabytes of free mobile data per month. You can have that for 6 months from the National Databank that Good Things Foundation runs, and they can come to one of those local places and get support. They can also learn a bit more about how to use the internet if they want to.
Yep.
And so we really don't want them cut off. We want them to be able to stay online.
It's a downward spiral. And have you noticed, I know this is advice, and I know the food banks and others and supermarkets saying they've definitely seen this. Have you noticed a clear difference in the last few months of people who are struggling? Because we look, there are always people who are struggling. There are people who can't manage their finances. There are people who, often through no fault of their own, but also some people who, the fault of their own, fall on hard times. But we do seem to be seeing something now, and I wonder if you've seen this yourself, of people who have done all the right things and have always managed to make ends meet. Things are tight, but they manage to make ends meet. They're working, they do it, and they are just at the point where whatever they bring in is not enough to cover what goes out.
Yeah, we definitely have seen that. So we're growing the National Databank across all 4 nations, and in London we have a special London Digital Inclusion Service as well. And that We have over 400, but we're trying to roll it out more quickly to hundreds of more local places because the demand is so high. And some of our local partners are also running what we call data clinics, so actually going and popping up in places so that people can find out how they can get this help. Because as you're saying, they're making really, really tough choices that nobody wants to make, particularly parents, particularly people who are, like you say, looking for work or looking for